All right, we're live for a quick minute. All right, now let's try and get situated here. So we're trying to set up a couple different platforms here. So just bear with us for a minute. We want to thank you for the play button, for pressing the play button. Yours truly, Sheldon. Now let me get this one started, and we'll re-say that. Family, friends, everybody, and even Lottie Dottie, we're streaming live with you again on tonight for another episode of What's Love Got to Do with It. Okay, we want to remind you that you can also check us out over on YouTube, and so make sure you utilize that platform as well. And if you miss something, you can always catch the replay, whether it be here or there. All right. Marshawn is in the building. We want to thank you for pressing play. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I'm telling you, I choose to rejoice and be glad in it. How many of you guys know that family is extremely important? A lot of times we get on here and we talk about love, we talk about the positions as it relates to the husband and the wife, the male and the female. We've talked about several things, and but we've been talking about family first. And I think last week we kind of talked about choices and things of that matter, things of that nature, and how they are important because sometimes we end up sacrificing our family. We end up causing our families to suffer unnecessarily because we chose other things first. We put other things in front of them. Tonight, I kind of want to shift a little bit, and we want to talk about, of course, family first, but in addition to that, we want to kind of talk about support, and because I happen to think and believe that family should be our biggest support group. We want to kind of talk about I think that our family should be our biggest support group. We want to encourage you to go ahead and press play. We want to encourage you to also press the share button. We also want to take this moment to thank everybody because last week we talked about getting over the 500 mark for the group on Facebook. We have crossed the 500, and prayerfully we'll continue to grow. We want to let you know that the hotlines, should you want to call and discuss with us or join the discussion, is 980-222-4492. That's the hotline that connects us to you. So please don't feel free to utilize that number. Because we also want to know what you think of first for you. Does your career come first? Because I think a lot of times let me say it this way. There are some that may look at it like this. Hey, what's up, Candace? So there are some that look at it from the regards of, if I don't put my job first, then my family suffers, because sometimes you might think that your job is what creates income that supports your family. And I think that that has a level of truth. But at the same time, we can't be on the job 24/7. And as a result, the family suffer because we're not there. Jordans and fancy clothes and all the latest gear. It doesn't take the place of an actual parent's presence. That's my take on it. And so we got to be real careful as it relates to that. Okay. Now, support. Now, I believe that support is extremely important because let me start out like this. When we started our family, Julene says she agreed. Amen. So we thank you for agreeing. But when we started our family, we were young. Most of you guys already know our story, and you know some of our testimony and how we gave our life to the Lord at a young age. We were about I think 18, 19, 18, 19, 18, 18. About a year later, we got married, right? And then a year after we got married, after saying we were going to wait, I think we said we were going to wait, right?
2 years, yeah.
Yeah, we said we were going to wait. But, I don't think that we really gave it a whole lot of discussion. It was something that we spoke about. But I don't think we really.
It wasn't set in stone.
It wasn't really set in stone. I guess it was more like a I guess, a preference and not an
Yeah.
absolute kind of
Right.
a situation. And so we we, as I said, we got married. We got married young, and a year later we had our first child, Shaquan, Sheldon Shaquan, and then Taj came about what 3 years after that.
Just about. Yep.
Yeah, about 4 years after that. So we had our kids young, which I think was good. I think it worked out good. I think there were some aspects and there were some times where um, I kind of wish we would have waited at least a little longer, because it would have given us time to enjoy each other more freely. Because I found out that kids can be birth control. Because sometimes the kids demand your attention. And if you're going to put family first, then that means there's going to be some sacrifices that have to be made because now you have kids.
Right.
But at this stage of my life, I'm not so upset that we started early because now we still young enough to enjoy, our grand. We've got a grandbaby now, and we got news today that she took her first steps. So Ravali Faith McIver is officially walking, y'all. Look at that smile. Y'all see how she perked up. Tell them what she called you. Tell them what your name is. What your name is?
I'm Gigi.
Oh, this is Gigi over here.
Yeah.
And y'all saw how Gigi lit up. She lit up like a firecracker. And we love that little girl, and we truly do adore her. But my point is, being that we started earlier, that being that we started young, we now are young enough to still enjoy both our kids as well as our granddaughter, and
Right.
hopefully that will turn plural as time goes on. Because I tell you what, if I knew what I know, if I knew then what I know now,
Mm-mm.
she said, because she already know where I'm going. But I would have had more kids so that I could have more grandkids in this phase of my life. Um, so I believe that support is extremely important.
For sure.
And so we had our kids young. We were young when we started having our kids, and so there's a stage that you go through as you raise your kids, right? Um, but the point that I want to get to is, when they were toddlers, we raised them, and we did the best we could to be good parents and provide a safe environment, not just literally, but even emotionally, spiritually, every aspect. We tried our best. I'm not saying we were perfect parents,
No.
but I think we gave it a really good shot,
We tried.
and we tried. And I don't think we did a terrible job. I don't think we did a bang up job at all. Sometimes you got to understand, as long as you gave it your best shot, that's good enough. It's good enough. Now, I'm not saying because we give something our best shot that well, I gave my best shot, and that's just, it is what it is. I'm not talking about that kind of mentality. Because even after we've given it our best shot, we still have to strive to do better. Case in point, let me put it this way. Our kids are now young adults, for real, right? So Tajiana is 20.
Yep.
And Shaquan is 25. Is it 24?
No, 20.
24?
He's gonna be 24. Yes.
So he's 23 right now. Shaquan, how old are you? He's 23 or 24. The boy done been here before.
Yeah.
He got a whole soul.
Because we're gonna be married 25 years.
So he's 24.
Yeah.
So he's 24 years old, and I can say, huh?
That's a Candace laughing. We all know.
Hey, we had them. We know they ours, and we done fed them, and we ain't got to keep track now.
Oh gosh.
But I can recall recent conversations with both Shaquan and Tajiana. And as I'm having the conversation, and even more so after the conversation was over, I sat there and I said, "Wow, we got adult kids. We got adult kids." And you have to understand that as your family grows, even as far as age, your style of parenting has to shift accordingly.
Right.
These are young adults now, and to be honest with you, they can do whatever they feel they big and bad enough to do right now. And it's not a whole lot that we can do to make them do what we want them to do. And so with that said and done, how does that affect the support group? How does it affect you when you made decisions that your parents or your family didn't agree with? Because they don't agree with your choice, do they no longer support you? And I'm not necessarily talking about paying your bills.
Right.
Our kids right now are I'd say they're pretty self-sufficient. They both know how to grind. They got a serious work ethic. Shoot, Taj, what, at one point working 2 and 3 jobs.
Right.
Because it is what it is. They didn't see lazy parents as they were growing up, but they've always seen us, as go-getters trying to make it do what it do. So I'm grateful for that.
And Ayana said your parenting style shift according to the time as well.
According to the time as well. Yeah. I can rock with that. Because circumstances of life, or I should say, even because of the way society has changed, you can't, here we are 2021, we can't parent the way we did in 1970, 1980. Come on now. Y'all remember back in the 80s when your mama would say, y'all going outside and play. Just make sure you back in here before the street lights come on. And we be out there all day long playing. And nowadays you can't send your kids out there like that because, you got folk doing all kind of craziness and it's just crazy. So I believe that parenting styles, they have got to, I can agree with Ayana 100%. Sure. What else you guys got to say about parenting? I'll say this as we wait for anticipated comments. You can tell your kids what to do, but you can't tell your teenagers what to do the way you told your kids what to do. And I can hear you living underneath my roof, huh? What do I mean? Mm-hmm. Okay, so
you can tell your kids, but you can't tell your teenagers.
Yeah, and I know they're your kids, but in terms of age,
okay.
You see what I'm saying? Okay. So you got your little adolescents, you got your little preteens and your teenagers. You can tell them, look, you better be in this house, at such and such time, right? But as they mature, you've got to deal with them differently because even though you are still the authority figure in the home,
right,
you also want to prep and prepare them to properly mature. And so you have to teach them and even lay a path,
right,
where they will learn how to make wise decisions on their own, not based on what mama or daddy gonna be mad about if I do or don't do.
Right.
But as our kids grew, I tried to strategically present them with options. You know what I'm saying? And then I would point out, pros and cons. But ultimately, I would leave it up to them to make the choice because, I just thought that was, what do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. And just like what Ken is saying, it comes down to even their personalities. You got to recognize their different personalities.
So true.
How you raise them or how you talk to this one, can't talk to that one because of different personality and so on and so forth. Ayana was saying she recognized that she reasoned with her last two differently. She's a little bit more relaxed with her last two, which is a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old is, the older one. And I think that also goes along with just the era that we're in, where you could take your belt and kind of whoop your kids. These days, it's like you in a different era. Whooping ain't gonna necessarily be the answer for one kid versus the other, or even you can spank them in, supermarket or whatever. You try to do that these days, you getting locked up for something that, whatever. So it all depends on the era that we in and the personality of the child and all different situations.
So okay, so when you mention beating them in the supermarket and and I definitely understand where you're coming
I'm talking
from.
about like when they having a tantrum at age 2, where you falling out and you be like, pop, get up.
So, with us, I can remember our kids being young, and because see, I believe kids do stuff they might not even be able to articulate. They might not be at the age where they're fluently talking. But they do something. You don't do it. They stop and they kind of like look at you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then they still go out and knock it over this, that, or the other. And so my point is, a lot of times them little jokers knew what they were doing, and we didn't wait till they were 12 years old to start trying to chastise them. We didn't wait till they were 15 years old to start, because I believe if you wait too long, you just waited too long.
Waited too long.
Yeah, you waited too long. The Bible talks about bending that sapling, bending the tree when it's sapling, because once it's a tree, ain't no bending it. It's
hard to bend.
Now, you can try to bend it if you got more force, but what's going to happen is you're going to snap it. And the Bible tells us we're not to provoke our children to wrath, to anger, And so I think when parenting, it's a fine line. It's a fine line, and we've got to try to walk that line with wisdom. And I even think we've got to get to the point and place when we trust what we've put into our children. In other words, if you did so good raising them and instilling values in them, then at some point you got to trust it that it met its mark, and that they'll be all right. Because I think that for me, when I was young, I think that especially in retrospect, I think my parents did a pretty good job. But there were times when I was out there doing stuff that did not in any ways represent who they were, what they put in me, what they stood for, and by God's grace, we strayed a little bit, but we came back. And so I think that a lot of times our kids, your kids, and I think some of this can relate or roll over to our relationships with our spouses and everything. But as it relates to our kids specifically, I believe that when they make choices, let's go there. Okay, so even in our relationship, there have been times when I have made choices. And I know I didn't even got to look at her. I know she didn't agree, but she has always remained my support. Is that a true statement?
Oh, absolutely. You're talking about as if you made choices as far as with the kids or.
No, not even so much with the kids. Not so much with the kids. Overall,
oh, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Whether it be career,
making,
whether it be
buying a car,
this, okay,
whatever.
We don't need a car thing alone, but
whatever.
but what was I saying? So, but
I agree with you.
Okay, and so and even though she didn't necessarily agree with me, it wasn't like she said, okay, abort mission. I'm no longer going to support him. I'm no longer going to, we've got to learn that we got to be there for each other. Family first. And we have to remain that support group. Why are they laughing at us? For one another.
Because that car thing. But read what, you got a couple comments here.
Okay, let's see what we got here for comments. And again, if you want to reach out, the telephone number is 980-222-4492.
But I think, keeping that level, even, okay, say we put aside the whole car thing, but just even raising kids, like, if Sheldon said something, or say come to me and say, Ma, I want to go to this party, or Ma, I want to go whatever, I want to do this, or whatever they want to do. And I'll be like, okay, did you talk to your dad? And then they'd be like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so what did your dad say? And if dad was like, no, then we always agree it's no. If the vice versa, if they come to him and be like, well, Dad, can I do such and such? And what did your mom say? Well, Mom saying, yeah, well, you can go. Or if Mom say no, well, it's no. We never took that stand where, okay, I feel like you need to go, so I'm just gonna say override Dad and say, yeah you go ahead. No, we didn't do that at all. Even if I felt like they should go or they shouldn't go, and if his decision was yes, it's one of them things where it's like, okay, it's yes. If it's no, it's no. We just kept it whatever one said. That's what we agreed on and did.
Because I think that there comes a time when kids, the bottom line is they want their way, and so if they can play me against my wife or my wife against me, them little jokers they're gonna try it. They're gonna do that, you know.
Right.
And I think that we have to understand that we are a team. We have to always remain a team. And a team does not always see eye to eye. A team does not always agree on everything. A team don't even always like each other.
Right.
But when you understand the concept, when you understand that, then you can stick together through the difficult times, through the hard times, through the ups and through the downs, through the ins and through the outs. And I think husband and wife, parents specifically, have to remain solid. They have to remain together. Because as she said, I concur, because there has been times where she made decisions and I had to support what she chose as it related to the kids.
Right.
And I couldn't, you know, I might say, well, why'd you do such and such? Why did you say such and such? You know, or you shouldn't do such and such. I don't feel you should do such and such. But I'm not going to do that in front of the kids.
No, absolutely.
Well, we don't do that.
We didn't do that.
We don't do that.
Yeah,
you know, we might have a little conversation afterwards,
right.
you know, but we're not going to do that in front of the kids.
And I think a lot of times, for our kids' sake, they never did a lot of that either. It's just one of those things. I will still make sure I ask them that question, just in case they're trying to pull wool over my eyes, like, okay, did you ask your dad first before I give an answer to say yes?
And so it's not even so much that they might not have wanted to try that, but from the giddy up, they already
right.
know, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mama gonna say, did you ask daddy? Daddy gonna say, what did your mama
right.
say? You know,
right.
So it took that option off the table
right.
in many cases.
Right.
You know,
right.
So I'm sorry, but go ahead.
No, that was it. You got a comment.
What we got there?
From the island, I know what I know. Raising children in America is difficult because the peer pressure starts with friends. And I agree with you, Shelly. Dad will say no, and I'll say yes, and they always run to me.
So you from the island, you go ahead and answer that one.
As far as peer pressure, well, I never raised kids. I'm from the island, but I never raised kids in the island, you know, so it's kind of different. But for me, though, growing up in Jamaica, it's a different, it was different. We didn't have all that, because first of all, you wore uniforms. You know what I'm saying? So you didn't have to worry about saying, okay, well, I need this new sneakers. I need, you know, all of this or whatever. You got to wear that white shirt with that blue thing if you go to Alpha Primary School, and that belt, and then that brown shoes or that black shoes, depending on what it is. And that's what you had. So you don't have all this peer pressure. Like here, you want the Jordan and the Nikes and this and that. And now I know they're doing, you know, uniforms in different school and stuff like that, but you still can wear whatever sneakers. So then they still got that. So it is difficult. It starts with peer pressure in America for sure. Definitely you have that. And, you know, I guess you have the same thing even in Jamaica, maybe not clothes wise, but maybe where you live per se, you know, you have that type of bullying or whatever. But yeah, peer pressure is real. And it does start with the friends in school, and you know, people want to fit in and want to be a part, and you know, and then they'll compromise their integrity or who they are or what they've been taught, you know, just to win over or to be popular. So even with the uniform, it's still stuff. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You know, they may have the uniform, but then it goes back with the sneakers, or it goes with the backpack, or you know, whatever it is that, you know, that's not a requirement of the school. Then you still have those issues.
Yeah. When I was growing up, you know, I think my parents did a pretty good job letting us know. And I give kudos to my mom, because my mom was she was an awesome support group for me growing up as a kid. I did some things that I shouldn't have done. I got in trouble sometimes, you know, but regardless of the foolishness I did, she never made me feel alienated. And she always let me know that we could always come to mama. You know what I'm saying? Coming up through grade school and everything. Now, by the time I got junior high school, I was so far gone till mama was like, boy, I don't know who you is, you know. But I think that there comes a time where sometimes you got to put your foot down when them little jokers want to act crazy, you know, because you just got to let them know you can't just, you know, if you're going to be in my house, there are certain rules. And if you're not going to abide by them, then you know something else going to have to be.
And
done.
how far of age is that?
What do you mean? How far of age is
when
that?
it comes to that point where you say, if you're not gonna abide by my rules, you got to do A, B, or
Well,
C.
I don't really think it's an age per se. Um, where you going with it? Let me.
No,
So
I'm just, that's my answer. That's my question. I'm not really
Mhm.
going anywhere with it. I'm just saying, is there an age preference? If it's high school and you cutting a fool, when is it that you get sick and tired of whatever and say it's time for you to either do this or you got to go? Or is it
Okay.
when they're young adults and they're still living with you? When is it enough is enough that you got to put down the law?
Well, I think I don't think that we could fairly put an age
Okay.
on that per se. I think it would have to be a case by case situation. I think what would go for one child is not necessarily the same for the other, because of maturity level, and then depending on what it is that they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
To say 11.
Now let's talk about how do you guys feel as it relates to how old is too old for your child? I mean, because can he be like 40 and still living in the basement? Can he be like 35 and still living in the attic? What do you think?
I think it all depends on circumstances and situations. You can be in a situation where you need, because I know somebody right now, as far as a lady that was at my job, and her son was living with her, but he was still going to school. He's much older, and had some difficulties where he going to school, and then now he finally graduated and he got a job and move out. So I think it all depends on the situation.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're old and you just want to sit at home and you just want to be, living with your mom because you want to play video games and you don't want no responsibility, at some point that parent need to light some fire underneath that person and know that, hey, you got to do something. You got to work towards something. Sitting here is not. So that's, I don't know.
I can agree with that. I think that if a young adult is living at home and they've got a plan, I think that that's where that support group comes in as a family.
Right. And for me, I always say this. I said, unless my kids respect me, whatever, my kids will all have to come home to, depending on their situation. If they feel like, okay, this is not working out, and they felt like they were grown enough to move out and then it didn't work out and they choose that they want to come back, as long as you didn't disrespect or violate the home, you're welcome to come back but you're just not going to sit here and don't do anything. You're not going to sit here and just be playing video game or whatever, but you always have a place to come back to until you get back on your feet, and then you decide to go, fine. But that's just my take on it. Just not going to come home and not do anything. So it all depends on the situation and circumstances for me.
I agree, babe. Again, the hotline number is 980-222-4492. Feel free to utilize that.
Yeah, Alex said the same thing. It all depends on the situation. Yes, if they're working towards something, absolutely. I'm with you with that. If you're working towards something, you want to go buy a house, so then you decide what's the sense staying, renting an apartment, and then I'm gonna save up money because I got a plan. I want to stay with you for 2 years because I'm gonna go buy my house because I don't want to be paying apartment rent or whatever may be the case. Then sure, by all means, do it. But if you just coming home because, hey, listen, you saying I don't want to be grown no more. I just want to come.
That's I mean, Now let's say sometimes I think we will launch out, children might launch out, and they might leave home. Maybe they made the wrong choice. They left too early or whatever, or maybe they left in a rage, or they left because you had rules, and they get out there and they realize that life is real deal, and they get in a difficult spot. If we had a situation like that, our doors would be open to our kids. I wouldn't have a problem with them coming back home, because sometimes they need to retreat. They need to come back so that they can regroup, maybe refocus, and then they could, take another launch when the time is ready, when the time is right, and like you mentioned, maybe saving up a little finances and everything.
Right.
And I hope my sister don't mind me saying this, but one of my nieces, she's trying to make that power move. She was out on her own. She was doing her own thing. She was covering what had to be covered. But she decided, I want to purchase instead of renting and leasing. So that's what she did. She's coming back home, and she's going to take that time to, and I think that's what parents should do.
Absolutely.
I think see, that's the support group. That's the support group. And I hope that I will always be in a position to be there for my children and for my grands and everything, So family first, man. We got to make wise decisions. And I want to go back because maybe this will encourage somebody who's raising some kids that are going through the phases or through the stages. Okay. Now, I remember when my son was probably getting ready for junior high school, maybe. I don't remember exactly what age it was. It was, boy, I tell you, it was difficult for me, y'all, because I went from superhero daddy to super dumb daddy in his eyes, because I remember when I would get ready to go somewhere, I want to come. And he come running up to the door with his little hat and his little coat. You don't want to go everywhere I went and everything. And then all of a sudden, Sean, you coming with me? No, I'm going to stay home. No, then I'm like, it's like, okay, all right, and so it went from that till, me not being that cool dad in his eyes anymore. That was difficult for me to deal with. And now all of a sudden, she was everything. She was the shining light, Yeah. Oh yeah. And so I had to be careful during this whole flip-flop here.
When was this?
I can tell you exactly when we were living on Claude Filter. That was the time where, I struggled because I felt like I was losing my son. And we didn't even conversate about this much.
No, we did not.
No, we did.
Because that's why I'm asking, when was this?
You see, sometimes you have to be careful how you blow something up because they needed their bonding time. My son loves his mother. I mean, he loves her. I know that without a doubt. Now I have a pet peeve, and that pet peeve is a mama's boy. And different people
he ain't no mama's
boy. Different people may define mama's boy differently. We can, but he loves his mother, but he's not a mama's boy. Okay. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I didn't notice that.
Man,
and because you knew that bond, I guess, between, I just feel like he was at that stage where, okay, no, I don't want to go, but I didn't feel like you felt that way to say, Darren, he's like,
Yeah, I did.
I did.
And there were times when I legitimately struggled with it. But I had to understand what was going on. See, understanding will allow us to go through some things that our emotions will say, you ain't got to go through that, and so he kind of went through that phase. He went through the phase where, because your kids will go through this phase too, you and if they haven't already, where they now lean and depend on the advice, the knowledge, the insight, the direction from their peers.
Oh, absolutely. I remember that part.
Yeah.
I remember that part for sure.
They will go through that, And here's something that I used to always say when my kids were young, and as I was, fathering them, and I still am, but this stage particularly, I would always say this, not realizing how much I would have to draw back or go back to this statement and extract the wisdom and the understanding from it. I used to always say, if you think you're the only one that will speak into the life of your children or influence your children, you are utterly wrong, right?
For sure.
Yeah, you are utterly wrong.
For
now,
sure.
as a parent, you have every right, and you should have the control
or have the foundation laid
yeah
for that.
you know, as parents we should be the first ones to speak into our children. They shouldn't have to go to school and hear, oh, you're a good kid, oh, you're bright, oh, you're this, that, and the other, but yet still at home they hearing you're just as dumb as a doorknob. You just, no. Right. But what I'm saying is, as a parent, as a father, I understood I wasn't the only one who would speak into his life or speak over his life, but I did have the right to control who
and what
who was allowed to speak into
right.
my child's life. You understand what I'm saying? Right now, I have several people who have blessed me. Some they know they have, and some don't, because not everyone who looks out for you. In other words, it could be someone who don't like you that you can learn a lot from. That's a whole nother story. So my son, we'll go back to my kids. My son, my daughter, they have uncles, they have aunts, and things of that nature who have blessed them, who they look up to, and who they've gleaned from. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if you got I don't know if I should say this on this live. Well, it's not. If you got a hoeing sister, if you got a hoeing brother, if you got a, certain situations like that, you might, for me anyways, I'd put the brakes on how much time and I'm not gonna say they can't know those folks, but but if Auntie so and so is coming over, you might want to know where the kids at, because Auntie might have them back there doing shots, might have them back there dropping it like it's hot, and so you as a parent, I believe, should have some control over who your kids are exposed to.
And that goes for age group, because once they become young adult in certain things, there's only so much you can do. So we're talking about from maybe toddler to
when they're extremely
preteens or something like that. Those are the ages where we're talking about trying to govern accordingly to make sure that the influence and the foundation is solely with you, and then after that, that foundation is strong, and you're the one that's speaking into their life pertaining to whatever it is that they need development with, and then from there you go, that you can. But we won't be the only one in their lifetime that people will speak into their life or deal with them accordingly. So
so then they go through these stages, right? And if you are the only influencer in their life, I think it can also make your job a little more difficult than it has to be sometimes. Because I can recall different situations where there were other people, uncles, aunts, who would speak some sense into the life of our kids, and so I've seen that play out as well. You know what I'm saying? And so I guess I should make this point. If you are teaching your kid one thing, or you're trying to instill something in your kid, and you have people who you have allowed to influence your child, that will listen to your child, look at the situation. Oh, your mama don't know what she talking about. Your daddy don't know what he talking about. Oh, no, man. Come on here. Let me show you how to do this, that. See, those are the kind of folk that, Now, I love it when they do have aunts and uncles who will sit down and will listen to their side of the story, because sometimes they won't come to us. There have been times where they'll go and vent to these other people, and I consider it to be safe.
Right.
And they will listen and enlighten them. They will maybe explain a little bit more clearly, who we are. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes kids will get mad at their parents for choices that they make, for restrictions that they have. And then they don't yet know how to tell the difference between the choice or the restrictions versus the parent. In other words, what I mean is they may hold you in their heart in a dark sense, in a dark way, because of a choice that you made, not realizing that you made that choice for their safety. And then you have someone else who can explain that to them. You know, because sometimes when we make a choice, when you make a choice as a parent, all they seeing is that you told them no.
No, right.
That's all they're
That's it.
seeing. They're not
And you're
seeing this.
mean.
Yeah, and you're mean. They're
Mm-hmm.
not seeing the safety aspect
Yeah.
of it. You know, and that's when other people who are around family, we're talking about support, can say, yeah, I know you're mad, but
This is
but I
what
see
they
where they're
need.
coming
This is
from.
what
Yeah,
this is what they were
yeah, they did
trying
that
to
because
do.
yeah, you know what I
Right.
mean.
And Kenneth said, and that's when it can become dangerous, that teach your child that your word isn't important.
Right.
When you have the people speaking and saying that
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So support. Is more. Especially with tonight when I'm talking about support, I'm not talking about financial support.
No.
Sometimes they don't need your financial. Learn how, because sometimes they get in a position because of choices that they made, and those choices weren't
And that's
wise
where you
choices.
need like emotional support at
Mhm.
that point.
Mhm.
Sometimes you don't need financial support. You need emotional support because maybe they can work and do whatever, or maybe they've fallen short, and then they got to know that there's somebody there, their parents is there, their aunt is there, that will get them through there with support, not maybe agree with everything they may do, but support them to get them back on the right track, or to support them to become better, or what have you. So
Yeah,
support is
absolutely.
definitely important.
It's definitely important. So we just want to encourage you guys, because I'm sure different folks who is on this live, your kids are at different ages.
Age, right? So is ours,
and so is ours.
I
I
mean,
think we were
at different stage in their
and
life.
different stages.
Yeah, different stage. Taj doesn't have a child. Shaquan does, so it's different.
And it's
Dealing,
different.
yeah, with them, and Shaquan is moved out. Taj is home and going to school, so it's a totally different type of stage that we ourselves is even going.
So let's back up and talk about Taj for a moment, because my daughter, many of you guys may know, and who don't know, you have to find out. She's enrolled up at A&T up in Greensboro. I'm extremely proud of my daughter, and I love her. I love her to the moon and back. And so since all this COVID and everything hit, all schools have been affected by this. They've gone to the whole online thing. And so again, we talk about presenting the options, and discussing the pros and cons.
Mhm.
But ultimately, baby, you grown. Whatever you choose to do, we're gonna be here to support you, right? And so this semester started back up, and she's doing a dorm thing, and but she only had like one or two. I think she had two in-person classes, and so
and then that dropped to none.
It dropped to none.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So initially, I wanted her to come home, mm-hmm. because I just thought it was the better choice. But she chose the campus thing. So all right, she want to do her grown thing. I'm going to support her, And so then she made the decision, and she called me the other day, and her and her mom had kind of talked about it a little bit and everything, and so she called me. I was at work. She said, "Dad, what you doing?" I said, "Nothing, not much. I'm just here at work." And she said, "Well, I made the decision to come home and finish everything else, online from home until further notice." I said, "Okay, cool." And so what you need? She says, "Well, I'm packing up, and I'm going to put mostly everything I can fit in my car. But can you come and help me get the rest?" I said, "All right, yeah." So I got out of work. What was that? Wednesday, Thursday?
Wednesday.
It was Wednesday. Okay, mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Wednesday, and I was extremely tired, but we got to be there to support them, especially when they're making efforts to make choices that you said they need to make, that you encourage them to make. Don't encourage them to make decisions, and then when they make them, you don't be there to support them, And so I don't care how tired I was. I put that big booty Judy on the road. Big booty Judy, that's my duty.
Please make that's my truck. Please make that clear.
That's my truck, all right? My old Ford pickup F-350, big booty Judy, big old dually. I put that thing on the road last night. Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And guess what? We headed straight to Greensboro, and we threw everything in the truck, and we came on back down the road,
Right.
And I think she made a wise choice. and it was a choice that ultimately she made.
Right.
You know, we can't. I mean, these kids is grown, and
Can't
I ain't got
micro
the energy to
right. You
be
can't
trying to.
micromanage the whole
You
thing. All
can't.
you can do is give wise and sound advice, especially at certain age and stages in their life, and then pray and hope that what you have entrusted or instill in them, that they will finally come to the realization and make those choices that you think that is best for them. But ultimately it's their decision at the end of the day. But we as parents have to make sure we're there to, guide it, even with, some direction, to say, well, if it was me, not telling you what to do, but if it was me, I would choose XYZ. But I just want to let you know that if you never thought about that situation, maybe you can do it this way versus this way, and then ultimately the choices is up to them. So
And don't penalize your kids. Don't penalize your spouse for not making the choice you think they should have made. I mean, at best, try to work through it, but to penalize them, specifically our kids, man, as my wife said and I've said, they're grown now. And not every choice they make, not every choice that they're gonna make, we're gonna. It's not the choice that we made. It might not have been the choice that we would have made,
right.
but it's their life, and I choose to support them and love them, through any choice that they make.
So, Kent, what are some of the things that you can talk about as far as the stages? Because you said OMG kids, I can say a lot. The stages that kids went through that you felt like it was quite difficult, that you and your wife had to come to maybe some type of agreement or maybe disagree on. If you want to share any of that. And Candace said that's good. You can't encourage your kids to do something and not give them the support to complete it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're gonna, because see, sometimes when they finally realize that you actually knew what you was talking about all along,
right,
and now they've got to swallow their pride. They've got to make a U-turn, if you will.
Eat that humble pie.
Eat that humble pie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't make them feel bad for doing that. You know what I'm
They
saying?
They already feel bad as it is.
Yeah,
so
support them.
Right, right.
You should see. Okay, they trying to do right now, and
Right.
because I think the reality is, yes, it can be hard for us parenting, but it's hard for them trying to adult too. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
It's not easy. They're trying to be grown. They ain't never been grown before, and they got all these emotions and all this, peer pressure, and Lord knows what else.
Yeah.
So it's not easy for them either. Yeah, it's but I tell you what, it's a beautiful thing, man. Um, I guess I just can't stress enough. Be careful how you try to penalize people because they don't make the choices that you make. Isn't it amazing how we can penalize our family, our children, our spouses, but we put up with so much and allow so much from the job and from this one and from that one. Very careful. I'm going to step in a little bit of mud right here. Some of us have. See, it says family first. I believe that family first, then church. I know for some they're gonna be like, "Ooh, what are he talking about?" A man that doesn't take care of his home is worse than an infidel and has denied the faith. So says the Bible, right? And so, how can I be an ace boom coon in the church, but yet still I haven't taken care of my family? And don't get it twisted. Taking care of one's family doesn't mean family specifically make choices that you in other words, they may still make choices that you don't agree with, but we still have a right to take care of our family, to support our family, to see them through some of the bad choices that they made. Because see the difference is, for many of folk, others just didn't see your dirty laundry. They didn't see, you parade all the good stuff, but you don't say anything about the difficult stuff. And then there are some who, their stuff is just a little bit more visible, if that makes sense.
Right. Right.
But I just think that we have to be there to support our family, um, because I'm looking forward to the day, as I've had that day with my mom, with my dad, where things I didn't agree with them back then, I had to turn around and say, Mom, Dad, thank you and appreciate it, you know. So I want to say thank you, Edna McIver, for all the support that you have given me down through the years. Not only did it mean a lot, but it continues to mean a lot, and it will forever mean the world to me. You know, my dad is no longer here, but you know, I appreciated him more and more as every day went by, and I wish I would have took advantage of certain things. Because now he's no longer here. You know, I want
Right.
to thank God for my mother-in-law. I want to thank God for Miss Anderson. These are women that have been there for me down through the years as well. You know, and there's just so many people. You know, if you could thank somebody who for being there for you, other than your parents, who would it be? Mm, mm.
Mm.
I know you got some. I know
No,
you
my
got some.
no, my mother-in-law been there for me. Yeah,
Hmm.
she's been there for me. Um, I don't know. No, that's a pretty interesting
Pretty interesting.
thing. I guess it's because I'm what, an introvert in some sense
Mhm.
of the thing. I'm like, that Aquarius in me, the water barrier or something. So, I mean, people been there for me. Like you said, my family been there for me. Um, and I could truly say my sister-in-law's been there for me. I thank God for Tish and even Petal. They've been there for me over the years and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So yeah, yeah.
It's good, man. It's really good. I think it's important to know that we're not out here on our own because
Right.
um, let me say this. My wife has asked me countless times, "Why you go so hard?" And she don't word it like that because that's not how she talk. But uh, I'm always willing to give my all to people and to things and to causes that don't do the same in return, you know. um, and there comes a time when we've got to realize the same effort we're willing to dish out to this one, that one, and the other. How about turning that within? You know what I'm saying? Because I think sometimes we're so quick to be disappointed with the ones who are really simply our true support through the thick and through the thin, through the good and through the bad, you know. And I wouldn't have anything to offer anyone or anything else had it not been for my support group. You know what I'm saying? My family, you know. And now that my kids are grown,
Mm-hmm.
I am literally looking forward to the days to come as they begin to pay us back, where we can literally sit down. I can sit down and I can talk with my son. I can sit down and I can talk with my daughter on a
Mm-hmm.
different level now. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm always going to be daddy, you know, and don't get it twisted. And there are some things that I would never discuss with them certain kind of way because
Right.
of the parent,
Right.
you know, child dynamic. You see what I'm saying? I just don't agree. I mean, you know, different strokes for different folks. You know, some people will have certain conversations with their kids that I just don't think is kosher.
Mm.
You know, I think there are some things that shouldn't be discussed with their kids. But anyway, I think we're at the point now where our kids are older and they can now contribute to the support.
Oh, for
You
sure.
know, I remember when we were going back up north for a while back, and the kids had just gotten their license.
980
Two
two
two two.
two 4492 Kent.
Okay, yeah, and
They just got their license.
they had just got their license, and normally I was the one doing all the driving whenever we went up north, right? And it was
I only
so
can do 2 hours,
yeah,
y'all.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. Two.
I can do 2 hours, Shonda. Don't do me like that on public
Well. See, you
TV
last
and
time
social media.
we went,
I
you
can do.
did good.
Listen, I did good because you slept.
Did,
You
yeah.
slept.
Because I done drove out everything. You know, so you did good last
But
time.
usually,
It's
But
his
I'm
fault,
talking about
guys.
usually. Yeah, I spoiled
He spoiled
you. Yeah, I
me.
did.
Okay,
Because
okay.
we would get in that car and we would you know we would, boom, we'd hit that highway. I'd knock out 13, 14 hours, you know, to the brick, you know, maybe stop for a little 30-minute nap or something. Um, but I remember when Shaquana got his license and we was taking that trip and he manned up, you know, he manned up and he got behind that wheel and I was able to get over there in the passenger seat. It's just like, yeah, you know, and because you know they're grown up and now Taj, you know, now Taj when Taj drives, she gonna get you there real quick, you know,
Real quick.
yeah, real quick, you know. Shaquan, I'll be like, dude, speed up, man. You driving like old grandmama, you know. And Taj, on the other hand, she got a lead foot. I guess she's something like her daddy or something.
Okay,
I don't know.
I'm glad
Yeah,
glad you interject that part in there.
But my point is, they are now at a place where they can add to the support group of our family. You know, not only will they do a little bit of driving, but you know, Shaquana busts out his little plastic and take care of the gas. You know, and you know, of course, we're not going to abuse their ability to add to the family,
right,
to the support of the family. Right. But we will give space for it because that's the way it should be.
Right. Hey, Pauline.
Hey, Pauline, how you doing?
Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. But you know, raising kids, man, it can be more than a notion. It can be more than a notion. But we've got to, you know, just kind of regroup and what's that?
Go ahead. And you said raising kids, and as much as you saw that big old smile on my face when they talk about my granddaughter, love her to death, but I don't think it's my responsibility to solely raise her. You know, I'm here to help, to interject, to steer, but I'm not gonna sit here and take over raising my grandchild. So that's another level too that we need to kind of know what to set some boundaries in that.
You got to know your role.
Got to know my role
and your place
and my place, because even with that, you know, if Naya say, well, you know, I want her to wake up at a certain time or to go to sleep, you know, me as a grandparent, you know, I may want to go ahead and play, but if that's what her mom or her dad is doing, I have to know my role as just a grandma to say, okay, I'm going to do this, and that's what they want. If that's what they want, you know, that's what yeah. So I know my role pertaining to that or what have you. Still, you know, I don't say I spoil them. I still love them extra.
Don't spoil who? I don't think poor little Faith stand a chance.
Ain't my fault. I love her extra.
You just gonna spoil the mess out of that little girl.
Listen, guys, I know my boundaries, Candace. Yep, and I know I know what my role is, and I'm definitely gonna do that. I'm gonna love her and spoil her, if so be it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I
tell you what, man. You know, I love my kids. It's no you know, guessing about that. But it's, you know, coming home after a long day of work, and you know, sometimes a stressful day at work, and I get home. And I don't know when she's gonna be over all the time, you know. But like the other day, I came home. I didn't even know she was gonna be there, but I came home and there she was. Oh man, it's just, man, it's something else. Okay, yeah. So family first. Support. What kind of support group do you have for your family? I'm just hoping that this will trigger, you know, your thoughts. Maybe even, you know, consider rearranging some things.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe even trying to do some reconciling with your family, because sometimes we just cut folk off that only just needed a little bit more grace.
Or cut them off and didn't have the right communication or the understanding of what it might have been, or misunderstanding. Let's say that that, you know, just needed some result or whatever, but we just kind of be like, okay, yeah, we just gonna part ways, when it could have been solved and dissolve and all of that stuff. So
what do you think is the biggest thing that fuels misunderstandings?
I think a lot of time people just want to be right.
Put in the comments what you think are some of the things that fuel misunderstanding. My beautiful wife says people just want to be right.
I think so, yeah. I think their opinion and they want to be right. So I think a lot of times the misunderstanding, they could be saying the same exact thing but in
Just
different
a different
way.
way. Yeah.
And he'd be like, da, 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 da. Be like, stop for a minute. Oh, we are saying the same thing. I was just saying it. Because sometimes Sheldon and I, you know, the way I may think or, you know, whatever, and I'll be like, that's what I'm saying. Oh, that's what, okay, whatever. So yeah.
Y'all pray for her.
Please do. I need it. Pride.
So misunderstanding, you know, what causes misunderstanding, man? You know, I think there are a lot of things that can be worked through. I think there are a lot of things that are really not a problem. We allow them to become issues.
Communication. I think communication is
communication.
The main
That's
one
a good
here.
one. That's a good one, Pauline. Thank you. Communication. Yeah. So what else do you guys think? Somebody said pride, assumptions. That's good. Ken. That's good.
That's
you know
true.
what they say about what happens when you assume. And so that's a good one. So we got pride. We got assumptions. Communication. Those are good ones. Those are very good ones. And you said what, babe?
I said just want to be right.
Want to be right.
Yeah. You know,
refusing to compromise. And I've said this before, Candace, you know, people got to stop treating the word compromise like it's a bad word or a bad thing. Sometimes compromise is exactly what we need. When you compromise, it's not that you're losing, but when you compromise, especially as it relates to family, it's a win-win. She's happy, I'm happy. And in order to compromise, that means we had to communicate. So now this compromise has taught us how to communicate. How can we compromise if we haven't articulated our side? I tell my kids all the time, not as much now as I did as they were growing up. You don't get what you deserve in life. You get what you negotiate in life. I can be a cool dude, but just because I'm a cool dude don't mean I'm going to get what I deserve. I got to speak up. I got to be able to communicate, articulate, and negotiate.
And don't assume.
And don't assume. Yeah, you know.
Oh, I assumed that they was gonna say no.
Well, I thought they would have done such and such. Yeah. Well, you thought wrong.
Right.
You know, and sometimes it's not that they're bad people, but you know, they just don't think the way you think. They don't process things the way you process things. And so sometimes you gotta, you know, just kind of, you know, school people so that they can have a better understanding of who you are. And you know, sometimes you got to even let them into your head and so that they can kind of understand how you think, and sometimes even why you think the way you think, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know, so I like compromise. I think that's a good word. Yeah. But I think that it takes a mature couple to understand the power of compromise.
And a mature parent with their kids as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because just because you're the parent doesn't mean that you can't compromise as well. You know, in some situation you have to compromise.
Well, we've tried YouTube Live for the first time tonight. We got a little activity over there, and we hope that it will continue to grow. So if you guys miss us on Facebook, you can always catch the replay on the group What's Love Got to Do With It, or you can also find it on YouTube. So if you're watching via YouTube, go ahead and show us some love. Let us know who's watching, where you're watching from. And here on Facebook, it's a little different type of platform, so we can see when you press play. But I want you guys to pause for a moment, especially my Facebook folks, and let's give a round of applause for all the people who are watching via pressing the speaker button and not the play button, because a lot of people will do that. They won't press play, but they'll press the speaker button so they can, you know, hear so let's, you know, round of applause for them as well. And again, I guess I'll just reiterate, thank you for helping us get above the 500 mark. For, you know, compared to some groups, it's just a drop in the bucket.
Right, for sure.
But those that are in the bucket is what's important.
Right. And so those that compare themselves among themselves
is not wise. Yeah, it's not wise at all. So
not doing that.
Yeah.
Kent, if you still want to call 980
the telephone number is 980
222-4492 before we get off of here.
Yeah. I don't know if he's tried and it's not working, because I haven't seen it ring yet.
And I think with Ken having a blended family as well too, I'm sure there was a lot of different things dealing with
Different aspects, different. Well, I shouldn't say really
growing,
aspects, but
like raising.
yeah.
Raising is shit probably different. But
Yeah.
and anywho, we will. Guess we'll continue on this topic. I guess maybe.
Yeah, I guess we'll probably continue, family first, and for maybe next few episodes or what have you. Um, but I just think it's extremely important that we understand how important support is, because I've been at a place. I don't know if you know what it feels like to make choices, and as a result of the choices that you made, you then become alienated by the ones that you thought would never do so. That's crushing.
And sometimes, we can't say we're alienated, and then we're the one that alienating ourselves as well too.
Okay, so talk about it. Break
we
it down
we
now.
we gotta know the difference, because sometimes they be like, oh, they cut me off, but yet still you're the one that withdraw yourself.
Yeah.
So you have to be honest within yourself and say, okay, I did this too. I was in my feelings. I assume we didn't communicate, and then I withdraw myself. And then when somebody says, what's going on with you and your kids, or what's going on with you and your family, or what's going on with you and your spouse, you may have been the one in the get-go that assumed or didn't communicate well enough, and then you take yourself away, and then you say you get withdrawals.
All right, let's see if we can get a man here live with us on today. Good eve on the air. Who we got tonight?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear us? You there, brother? Let's see. You there, brother? All right, I think we lost him. Let's see here.
Hello?
Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Yeah, can you hear us?
Your mic is mute on that.
Is it? No, it's not.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Let's see here. Can you hear us?
Hmm.
All right. Well, obviously we're having some technical difficulties here.
I wonder if we can bring her on the screen from there. Are you willing to come on the screen? Maybe she's not ready to come on the screen. No, that's Robin.
Let's see if I can pick it up on this one. Sometimes technology is great when it works, and when it doesn't, it doesn't.
He said he couldn't hear us.
Let's see here. So, babe.
All right, guys. I don't know. We're trying, but we'll see. Maybe it's not gonna. Pick up. But can't, at least you gave it a try. Guys, what we were talking about was basically family first, and do you have support, real support? And in the process of that, when we thinking about support, don't feel as if you withdraw yourself, be honest within yourself, and maybe can reconcile or communicate and try to see what went wrong and go from there. And always, like Sheldon said earlier, don't feel as if when you tell your children or your whoever, your spouse, that you know, something and they don't follow through or do what you expect them to do. And when they finally decide to do the exact thing that you were telling them to do,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
still
Are you
support
there?
them.
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Okay,
Okay.
good. We're cooking with gasoline. So, Brother Ken, how you doing? How's the family?
Can y'all hear Kent?
Doing good. How y'all doing tonight?
Hey,
Man,
Ken.
you know,
Hey,
we're
Robin.
doing pretty good, man. We're just glad to, as they say, glad to be in the number. Report as it relates to family and some of the issues that we've been discussing tonight. What's your topic, or excuse me, what's your take on it?
Support kids. Robin will tell you that I'm a big supporter of our kids. Like you said, we got a blended family. So y'all know I have a total of 7 kids.
Woo.
Yeah, that's a big number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear it.
5 from my first wife and 2 from Robin. And it each one has their own personality. It was so different. We're all extremely close.
That's nice.
I mean, they love Robin just like they love their mama.
That's good.
That's good.
That's real good.
And they would definitely tell you that we are supporters of what they do. If they did wrong, we let them know. They come to us for advice, and we give them the best advice we can give them.
Right.
Right.
But it was, I mean, I'm not going to sit into it. It was easy. It was very challenging. But we love them all. We try to love them all the same. But you know, with 7 kids, you're going to have the headbutts and the why you did this, and you love them more than you love me. So we definitely went through that. And
yeah.
that was tough. And it's still tough right now today. We still here right now today. Robin just got off the phone with my oldest son. He's 36 years old.
Look just like you too. I said, good Lord, that boy look just like him. Can't hide that one.
He's more like a best friend to me, man.
That's awesome.
You know?
And
with and the baby sister just left here. She's up there probably not far from y'all.
Okay.
In Greensboro.
She's in Burlington.
Okay, so that's right up the road too.
Right,
yeah,
right.
That's right up the road.
She come here. I hate to put a business out, but she come here. She's expecting. She's 5 months.
Okay.
6 months. She's come here for a doctor's appointment.
Okay.
And she comes. I got 4 girls.
Yeah.
And they very rarely come to this house with their other half. So she came today with this guy that I don't even know whatsoever. Yeah, and she introduced him, and I looked at her, I said, so this your boyfriend? And she gave me an answer I didn't like, but I said, you know what, let me just be quiet.
Yeah.
Because she's an adult.
She's an adult. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
You know, and I had to, that was tough for me not to say something.
Yeah.
You know?
But let me ask you this. Do you think she knows that it was tough for you? Do you think she knew that you were holding your peace?
Yeah, because they all know me.
Yeah,
she knew it.
Yeah. Come on, mama. Yeah, she knew it. Yeah.
She knew it.
But I think
but she come on my side to sit.
Yeah.
She come on my side of the room. She knew.
She knew, man.
But that's wisdom, though.
That's wisdom.
And that's supporting, even though you may not agree, but you still support her. You didn't put her on blast. You didn't embarrass her, even though she, you know.
I refuse to embarrass any of my kids, put them out there like that.
Right.
We never embarrass our kids.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
We defend them. If they're wrong, they're wrong. If they're wrong, we're going to be there for them.
Right.
But we will never embarrass them.
Right.
Even in the midst of them being wrong.
Yeah.
We try to support, even in the midst of them being wrong, we support them because, you know,
we try to teach them, you know.
Right.
They got to learn from their mistakes.
Yeah.
And we've been they challenge the girls. Whew,
Yeah, them girls.
they'll
Girls,
challenge.
these girls drive
us.
me crazy, man.
They'll challenge us.
They
challenged us against each other before.
Yeah.
They've challenged us against other siblings.
Mm-hmm.
The girls are something.
I agree.
But they, you know, somebody has said boundaries. You do have to set boundaries.
Yeah.
And especially with the girls and with the females, you got to set some serious boundaries. When they get a certain age, I'll say 25 and over, you better start setting some serious boundaries because they will try you. They will try you as a woman.
So
as a woman, they'll try you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good to know.
I mean, and I say that in out of a loving way.
Right.
But it's because they're trying to find themselves. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
Right.
They're trying to find out how to be a woman. So it's just, because I go back to when I was 22, 23, 24, 25, you know, you're trying to find yourself.
Right.
You're either married at that age, not married, maybe have a kid, don't have a kid. So there's something. The boys,
boys are good.
The boys are good. They're good guys. They're really good guys. The baby is a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The seventh child is a boy. He's 16.
Like we wouldn't even know he's here.
He's in the room
He's
quiet.
in his room with his door closed. He's on.
He's a real chill kid.
He's the dancer of the family.
Yeah, I see that, and that's what I was about to say. You know, we're friends on Facebook, and so you know I see your timeline and stuff like that. And you know, I be cracking up, man, because y'all be having me cracking up, man. But you know, I think that's what it's about. Our kids have to know us not only as the disciplinaries, but also as the ones that can initiate a little fun and a little, you know, a little good time, you know. And so talk to me a little bit.
With the
Go ahead.
disciplinary part, they will call the girls. The boys don't, but the girls will call me first. And they'll say, "Is daddy around you, or is daddy home?"
Mm-hmm.
If they had to tell their daddy something, they'll text me or call me later. Is daddy mad at me?
Yeah.
Is daddy this? Is daddy that? When it comes to the discipline or it comes to his feelings, he don't think it, but those girls really are concerned when it comes to their daddy and how he views them or how he looks at them as women, as females.
Right.
And I mean, and to me, that speaks a lot because I grew up, didn't care what my daddy thought. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, because my mom was a single parent. So I was like, well, he ain't here, but I don't care what, you know, but they care about what their daddy thinks about them.
Yeah.
And to me, that means a lot from a father's perspective, because that means that they respect him. Right.
I think it's okay with us as parents knowing the roles that we play. So in other words, if Kent is known as the disciplinary, you know, I think it's okay for us to understand, you know, which part we play and just kind of fit in. What you think, babe?
Yeah, in some sense, but then sometimes you feel like you're the bad person all the time. So
as being the disciplinary.
As being the disciplinary, yeah.
Okay.
So you'd be like, well, nah, you can discipline too sometimes, instead of me feeling like I'm always the one that
mediator.
Yeah, they say I'm soft now.
They say he got soft, but I've always, you know, as they grew up, I was always the mediator. I was always that say let's sit down and talk about her. Now when I would get angry, they would know, let's just leave mom alone. But they would always, you know, I always tried to talk it out with them or try to be the mediator. Not that I was trying to say that Kent couldn't discipline them, but just sometimes being that we were a blended family, I felt like maybe, not that he was hard on them, but I felt like maybe he didn't have to be as hard because they didn't live here all the time. So
Yeah.
I felt like, and that could have been wrong on my part, but so there was times that I stepped in and I probably shouldn't have stepped in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
But it was because I was trying to because we were blended and I was trying to make as much of the family being together in that moment than it being, you know, unless they did something really bad, I was like, Kent, you got to go get them. Get them.
I hear you.
But they were all good kids. They've all been good kids. They really have.
That's good.
We're blessed in that area. They are all good kids.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, they all over the place now. So
So tell us where some of your kids are all 7. Like your 16-year-old is with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with my oldest. My oldest was he been in California for 11
years.
11 to 12 years.
12 years.
12
Okay.
years. Now he's in Dallas, Texas. He's been there for 4 years.
Okay.
My next oldest is a son. He's in Florida.
Okay.
Now that's the one where my mom was on her dying bed, and she looked at me and told me his name Kendrick. She said, Kendrick is gonna run you crazy. And I swear to this day, Kendrick is the loveliest person that you will ever meet, but he has his issues.
Yeah.
Right.
He would not hurt a fly, but man, let me tell you, if Kendrick was to call me at 10, 11 o'clock at night, I'm not gonna answer the phone. And I'm not saying that to be ugly, but
right.
I know Kendrick at that time of night. I know he's not in trouble, and I know he's been drinking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I can't do it. I'll call him back in the morning.
Right.
He's in Florida.
Uh-huh.
Then my oldest daughter, she's in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
2 more daughters.
And my 2 more daughters, that's right there in Mebane. Burlington.
Okay.
Burlington.
Yeah, they're in Mebane, Burlington, right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got another daughter.
We got another daughter
that's
there.
here, that's in our house right now. She's 28, but she's about to get married in 2 months. So
Well,
she's here
congratulations.
because she's about to get married.
You heard Robin said the girls will run you crazy.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm counting down for this wedding.
I hear you.
And we got 5
5
grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
6 grandchildren.
Yeah, and 1 on the way.
And one
on the way.
Well,
Wow.
congratulations,
Well, congratulations on all your endeavors and everything that you got going on there.
You want to talk about sport? My oldest daughter got pregnant while she was in college. She was a junior in college, and she called me and she said, "Daddy, I'm pregnant." And I didn't know what to do. And I told her, I said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to finish college. When you have the baby, you bring the baby to me, and we're going to finish college.
Right.
So she had her baby. I was in the delivery room with her. She had the baby, and the doctor said, what are you guys going to do? And I said, I'm going to take the baby home with me. So we raised this baby for 2 years. And when she walked off the graduation stage, she came and got her baby.
There you go.
There you go. Support.
There you go. I want to say this, Ken, and we're gonna get ready up. I want to commend you guys, because I think what you said just a while ago speaks volumes, and it's something that I even tried to get across in church. And I often say it this way as it relates to church: true ministry eliminates the fear of discipline and allows us to focus on the need to get right. And, you said that she was in college and she got pregnant, and she calls and she says, "Dad, I don't know what to do." It speaks volumes to, what you've done as it relates to raising your kids, that even in a situation like that, they came to you for advice, comfort, and support. regardless of what the circumstances were. And I just think that that's awesome. You know,
Right.
we don't want our kids to be like, oh, I messed up, but I don't want to go home because they're going to say such and such. They're going to do such and such,
Right.
you know? And so I just think that that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love them. Well, we love them all to death. We
Yeah.
do anything we can to help them.
Yeah, that's good.
Long as it's doing right, you know?
Right.
Right.
So Kent, we're gonna have to get together. We're gonna wrap it up for tonight, but we're gonna get together. I want to do an episode over some smoked ribs or some smoked, brisket, and we're gonna bring our little bit of equipment, and we're gonna string up down there in South Carolina, and we're gonna talk about smoking grace, and we're gonna do a what's love got to do with it right there in your neck of the woods.
So listen.
When
you decide that y'all want to do that. I want to be in the other house.
Okay. There you go.
The other house is going to be more set up to do stuff like that.
Gotcha.
We taking over the house that I grew up in.
I saw that.
Yeah. And we're going to start doing a lot of ministry work from there.
Okay.
In the neighborhood. You know, I want to start doing a lot of work in the neighborhood. But when it comes cooking part, it's going to be laid out for that. Robert told me I had to get out of the kitchen, so I'm okay. I'll get that taken care of.
Okay. That's awesome, man.
That's right, Candace.
Yeah, we looking forward to you guys coming down and hanging out with us.
Yeah, we'll definitely be in touch, and we're gonna make it happen. We got this little cold weather, but as soon as you get just a ounce of something that look halfway decent, man, I'm gonna say, Kent, where you at?
All right.
I'm gonna
say waiting on you.
Yes, sir. All right, there we go.
Sounds good.
Hey, look, we appreciate you guys calling in, and we just want you to know we love you guys and continue to keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Love you guys too.
All right, take care.
Good night.
Also,
Yes.
I will say this without even batting an eye, a power couple, not just an awesome couple, but a power couple.
For sure.
And may God continue to bless them as they make power moves. So yeah.
Yes, you are so true. You know, I try or try my best. Just things that if our kids will just adhere to it and trust us enough not to be afraid to come, so they can communicate, you know, no matter how difficult the conversation may be, or what have you, that they will know that there is a support group in their house. You know, their parents will always be there to support them regardless, you know, of how bad it may be or seem like or look like, that they won't be afraid. Maybe they'll be afraid, but yet still be afraid, willing to come and to talk to us and to, you know, ask for our advice and our help, you know, and not be too scared not to come at all. But so that's our goal.
And I think even though we may set out, and when I say we, I'm talking about us as parents, you know, we may set out to have that kind of environment. It doesn't mean that it's going to go over without a hitch. It doesn't mean that we don't have to work up to that. Sometimes we have to, you know, choose our battles and, you know, build up to that kind of environment or atmosphere, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Because there may be some things that they say, well, I don't think I can talk to them about. And then there are other things they say, okay, I can go, you know, and you just take it from there and just kind of, you know, going into it, you know. So.
All right, guys.
I think for next week we're gonna see if we can get the kids to come up here and join us. And
good luck.
They can see they grown now. They got their own lives now. They making moves and doing things. And
they may. It all depends.
Let's see if we can get them. If we can't get them, we might be able to get Faye.
You know, she'll come.
Oh man, she walking, y'all. She taking them steps as of today. Her first official walking steps. So God bless you guys. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the love.
Pressing play. Thank you for
pressing play.
Making us reach 500.
Yeah. And thank you for making the effort to put family first.
Right.
Remember, your family is different from my family, and my family is different from your family. But your family is your family. Okay.
And family matters.
And family matters. Family matters. You know. Some folks they so embarrassed of that that uncle in the family that's always drunk at the family reunions. Look here, that's still part of your family, and that, you know, it's so family first, love them all, and you know, and just keep it real.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for pressing play.
This is what I want you to do, if you would, because we're done for tonight. But I want you to, in the comments, even once the video ends, go through your phone, through your gallery, your photo gallery, and post up a picture of your beautiful family. Post up a picture of your family.
That's nice.
Yeah,
babe.
post up a picture of your family, and let's do that. Let's just flood this whole feed here with pictures of your beautiful family. Okay, you can even include it on our YouTube channel. We put a little they wanted a thumbnail to start the live, so we chose a picture of us on Christmas Day, and we were all posing for the picture, me, my wife, my 2 kids, and our granddaughter. And in the distance, our little dog was sitting in the window, and so he made it in there too. So post up them furry family members too. Okay, so yeah. May God continue to bless you and yours as He does the same thing for us and ours.
And what love got to do with it? Everything. Everything.
All right.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys. God bless you and have a smile on you.